times, gotta your coach. You know who else they coach? Giselle. She that karate man. No, listen. What?
May 2024, Kevin Hart walks onto a Netflix stage to roast Tom Brady. Pre-show meetings had reportedly warned every comedian to leave the divorce alone. Hart did not. Within 5 minutes, he dragged Gisele Bündchen, her jiu-jitsu instructor, and Bill Belichick into one sentence. And Brady's face did things you can't unsee. Here are 10 times Kevin Hart destroyed disrespectful celebrities. Most comedians have a line they won't cross. Kevin Hart's line, apparently, is Michael Jordan's wardrobe. And when Hart crossed it, he didn't just lose laughs, he lost his hero. Here's the setup. Hart and Jordan used to be tight. Golf, dinners, the works. Hart even bought a Porsche from him. Then one night, on stage during a stand-up special, Hart decided to riff on Jordan's kids and the way Jordan dresses. He compared the basketball careers of Del Curry's sons, you know, Steph and Seth, with the basketball careers of Jordan's sons.
I'm gonna tell you who I feel pitched the dud. I'm gonna tell you. Michael Jordan pitched the
The next clip, by the way, contains the line that ended it, the one about Jordan's outfit choices that Hart says he doesn't even know where it came from. It just fell out of his mouth on stage, the crowd lost it, and the next day, the joke had traveled across the internet and into Michael Jordan's living room. Jordan, who is famously thin-skinned about being roasted, was not amused.
Where it's okay to wear your pants that high and nobody addresses it. I said, nobody, y'all telling me I'm the only one to think Mike's is past the legal limit for waist? But it was like fun jokes.
Hart has told this story on multiple talk shows, and the punchline is always the same. Michael will not return his calls. Michael does not invite him to places anymore. The friendship, in Hart's own words, is over, all because of a joke about jeans.
To Michael Jordan.
I've ran into Mike a couple times. Mike still might be mad at me. True story. Yo, listen.
Imagine this, you're Kevin Hart, you're at the top of the comedy world, your idol since childhood is one of your friends, and you can text him, you can call him, and then, in pursuit of one good laugh in front of 1,000 strangers, you torch the entire relationship, and you keep telling the story on stage anyway because the bit still works. That's commitment to the craft, and explained that he'd done the same thing to Jordan in person, at a charity event, mocking the man's pants directly to his face. So this wasn't a one-time slip, this was a pattern. The lesson, if there is one, is that Kevin Hart will absolutely destroy you for material, and you includes the literal greatest basketball player who has ever lived. Nobody is safe, not even the man on the back of his own Porsche. In Justin Bieber Comedy Central roast, Kevin Hart annihilated Bieber, ate Snoop Dogg's leftovers, and somehow walked out alive after Martha Stewart and Natasha Leggero teamed up to bury him. This is one of the rare moments on this list where Hart isn't just dishing it out, he's also taking it, and the giving and receiving is so brutal, so back and forth, that the whole segment plays like a comedy demolition derby. Hart starts on Bieber, and he doesn't go for the easy stuff, he goes for the most embarrassing chapters of Bieber's tabloid era. The pet monkey that got abandoned in a German animal shelter, the egg-throwing incident at his neighbor's house, the entire phase where Bieber thought he could be a gangster while also selling a perfume line at Macy's.
You threw eggs at a house. Gangsters don't throw fucking eggs. Snoop, when the last time you threw eggs in somebody's goddamn house? We don't do that. It's not gangster.
This second clip is gold because Hart drags Snoop Dogg into the joke as a credibility check.
You bought a monkey. And you abandoned the monkey in Germany. What the was that? Like, you abandoned a monkey in Germany. That was a privileged Beverly Hills monkey. You showed him your lifestyle, and then you dropped him off in Germany? Now that monkey's turned out in the goddamn German zoo sucking rhino because of your bad decision.
He turns to Snoop, who is sitting 2 seats away, and basically asks the godfather of West Coast rap when the last time was that he, Snoop Dogg, threw eggs at someone's house. The implication being never, because gangsters do not, in fact, throw eggs. Then the tables turn. Natasha Leggero gets up there and proceeds to deliver one of the most savage strings of short jokes in roast history. She compares Hart to a shrunken 50 Cent. She calls him Peter Dinklage's shadow. The crowd is howling. Hart is dying in his seat, and you can see him doing the math in real time on whether to retaliate or just absorb the damage.
Everywhere. You know, Kevin's actually going to be on the next season of Game of Thrones.
He's playing Peter Dinklage's shadow. Kevin does all of his own stunts. He climbs into his own chair. He climbs out of his own bathtub. He goes up on his wife.
He absorbs it, because the very next person up is Martha Stewart. And Martha, yes, that Martha, the lifestyle queen who once did time for insider trading, pulls out a joke about Hart's spending habits that lands like a brick. She mentions a $150,000 watch, gropes for a phrase, can't quite find it, lets the silence do the work. The crowd erupts. It's the kind of joke that should not work, and absolutely does, mostly because Martha Stewart is the one telling it.
When he finally got his first big paycheck, he spent $150,000 on a watch. I forget that term for that. It's not African American rich. It'll come to me.
Then comes Snoop. Big homie. Friend of Hart. Co-star of multiple things. Snoop walks up to that podium and immediately starts in on Hart's outfit, comparing his vest to something the Muppets would wear. And then Snoop just keeps going, into territory you cannot reprint on YouTube without an age gate.
Good. I didn't know the Muppets made clothes for a though.
Hart does eventually fire back. He gets Snoop on the age angle. He turns Snoop's own nickname into a joke about Snoop sleeping in the sunspot of his living room floor like an actual elderly dog. Crowd loses it.
The D-O-double-G. That's right, the dog. Right, Snoop? Back in the day, the reason why he called himself the dog is because he was a dog with the ladies. It's true. Now he's called a dog because he sleeps all day in the sunspot in the living room floor. Isn't that true?
Look. Most people leave a roast bruised. Hart left this one looking like he'd been jumped in a parking lot. But here's the thing, he came back every single time with something. That's the difference between a comedian and a target. The target shrinks. Hart just keeps swinging. The Netflix's greatest roast of all time, the one that paid Hart enough to forget Brady's phone number forever. May 2024. Tom Brady, freshly retired, freshly divorced, freshly humble enough to volunteer himself for a televised public flogging, is sitting at the head of the dais. The room is stacked. Kim Kardashian, Drew Bledsoe, Bill Belichick, Nikki Glazer, Jeff Ross, Bert Kreischer, real heat. And then Kevin Hart steps up. Reports from the production were that comedians had been quietly asked to take it easy on the Giselle divorce material. The split was still raw, the kids were involved, Brady was vulnerable on that exact subject. Hart, judging by what he then did on stage, treated those notes like a list of suggestions. He went after Brady's career first, the whole mythology of the relationship with Bill Belichick. Then he pivoted, with absolutely no warning, into territory the producers had specifically asked the comedians to avoid, the divorce, and the man Giselle was now reportedly involved with, who happens to be a jiu-jitsu instructor. Hart called him a karate man. The crowd gasped, then exploded.
Times got a coach. You know who else coach? Giselle. She karate man. No, listen. What?
What that clip doesn't fully capture is Brady's face. Producers cut to him during the punchline, and his expression goes through about 4 emotions in 2 seconds. There's the polite host smile. There's the wait what flicker. There's the did he really just say that to me on national television stunned blink. And then there's the surrender laugh, the one where you have to laugh because the alternative is leaving the building. Picture this. You are Tom Brady. You have agreed to a Netflix special where, by definition, professional comedians are going to flame you for an hour. You've made peace with it. You've prepped your one-liners for the rebuttal segment. You think you have the receipts. And then a 5'4" comedian with a microphone makes a joke about the man who is currently sleeping with the mother of your children on the same stage in front of every NFL quarterback you've ever played against, and you have to react in real time without looking like you're about to flip a table.
I mean, Jesus Christ, Tom. One of the smartest quarterbacks ever played a game. How did you not see this coming? 8 karate classes a day? 8 karate classes a day? 8 karate classes a day? and she's still a white belt. She's still a white belt.
That's the moment Kevin Hart engineered. That's the joke that got cut from some of the post-event highlight reels, then leaked, then trended for 3 days. And Hart, when asked about it later, mostly shrugged. The whole point of a roast is that nothing is off the table. He just took the table at its word. The kicker is that Brady went on a podcast a few months later and admitted some of the jokes had genuinely hurt. Several reportedly came from Hart, so this wasn't just material, this actually landed somewhere, which, depending on how you feel about Kevin Hart's brand of comedy, is either the goal or the warning sign. After Will Smith walked across the Dolby stage in March 2022 and slapped Chris Rock for a joke about Jada's haircut, every comedian in America was going to have to address it on stage. Some did it gently, some made one passing reference. Kevin Hart wrote a whole bit, brought a prop, and dared anybody in the audience to come up there and try him. The bit lives in his stand-up special Reality Check. Hart walks out with a wooden bat. He sets it on a stool. He explains in detail exactly what he plans to do with it if any audience member gets even a little bit of an idea about hopping on stage in defense of someone else's honor. The crowd is howling. Hart is gripping the bat. The joke is grim and silly at the same time.
Because I've been through a lot of paper, I should be crazy. On paper, all the I should be crazy. And who knows? Maybe it's coming. Maybe I got crazy waiting on me. Because you don't expect it. Nobody plans to be crazy. It just happens.
But the real comedy comes from the impression. Hart does a full physical reenactment of Will Smith losing his composure on Oscars night. He widens his eyes. He paces. He does the open mouth scream. He absolutely commits to the bit, and the crowd is dying because the impression isn't just funny, it's accurate. This is exactly what Will Smith looked like.
Crazy just sneaks up on you. Look at Will Smith. He didn't plan that. That just happened. What? He didn't plan that. It just keep my wife's name out your mother.
Hart's analysis of the slap, by the way, is one of the funniest non-physical parts of the whole bit. He breaks down the moment forensically, like a sports announcer reviewing a controversial play, and lands on a thesis about Will Smith's apparent inability to control his own body in that moment.
You have any idea how crazy you gotta be to make Samuel L. Jackson jump back? Do you have any idea? Keep my wife next to say, what the happening?
What makes this performance land is that Hart wasn't just mocking Will Smith. He was using the moment to make a point about what comedians actually do for a living and how thin the line had suddenly become between telling a joke and getting clocked in the face on live TV. He was speaking for every stand-up in America who watched that clip and quietly wondered whether their own mother-in-law jokes were now hazardous occupations. Around 2022, Kanye West entered what people generously called his mask era. Public appearances and full face coverings, a weird tan latex job for a Balenciaga show, the black mesh stocking incident at a Donda listening event, and briefly, an actual living arrangement inside Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium where he reportedly camped out during the production of his album. Most public commentators talked around this. They called it eccentric. They called it artistic vision. Kevin Hart, hosting the BET Awards in 2024 with Snoop Dogg as a co-pilot, simply called it what it looked like.
Kanye was spotted making an appearance at one of those games we talking about. Let's check it out.
Hey, Kanye! Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Kanye got pantyhose on his face. Kanye.
The bit involves security camera footage of Kanye's stadium dwelling, a side-by-side comparison of his masked appearances to bank robbers from the 1980s, and Snoop Dogg gleefully agreeing with every observation Hart made. The tone wasn't angry, it wasn't pearl clutching, it was a bunch of friends watching their other friend make decisions in public that no responsible person would let him make in private.
Kanye walked in that bitch looking like a bank robber from the 80s. Put the money in the bag. Luther? You know they could always see who was robbing them in the pantyhose.
Say you jive ass. Put the money in the bag.
Imagine you're at the BET Awards trying to give out an award for Best Female Hip Hop Artist, and the host of the show is at the front of the stage explaining that another rapper, who is not in attendance, has reportedly been seen strolling around in pantyhose while couch surfing inside an NFL stadium. And the audience is laughing, but there's also that slight pause where everyone realizes, yeah, this is actually the situation. We are not exaggerating, he really did move into the stadium. The crowd died. Snoop, sitting in the front row, never broke. The whole bit is masterclass level work in delivering observations that everyone is privately thinking, but nobody else has the position or The Rock and Kevin Hart have been business partners, co-stars, and best friend energy presences in tabloid coverage for over a decade. Their entire brand is the bickering buddy duo, so you'd think Hart would treat Johnson with kid gloves. You would be incorrect. Hart's roasts of The Rock are some of the most ruthless on this entire list, and they're usually delivered while the two of them are smiling at each other on a press tour. The most surgical takedown happened on a talk show. The Rock had recently gone viral for buying his mother a brand new house. It was a tearjerker moment. Mom crying, Dwayne crying, the internet swooning, wholesome content of the highest order. Then Kevin Hart got asked about it.
Speaking of family, Dwayne, you also just recently bought your mom a house.
I did.
That like makes me want to cry.
Yeah, no way. no way. I gotta get a concept.
$1 billion later.
It's about time.
$1 billion later, he finally bought his mom a house. All right, should we clap for that?
Hart's whole position, delivered with a totally straight face, was that we should not in fact be giving The Rock a participation trophy for finally pulling the trigger on something that should have happened years ago. The math was the math. The Rock has banked something with a B in it. It is, as Hart sees things, statistically impossible to be that wealthy and not buy your mother a house. And yet there, The Rock was fishing for applause for clearing the lowest possible bar.
I think the whole room right now is thinking the same thing.
No, wait.
It's about.
Wait.
Hey, Mom! Look what I got
No more
you.
apartments. Here you go.
Look what I got you.
No more trailer park.
Let's get out that duplex.
Oh,
That's a level of public deflation no one else on earth could have aimed at Dwayne Johnson without serious consequences. Hart did it on a sofa, in a sweater, eating pretzels. The Rock, for his part, has fired back multiple times.
Just like your dad, it's wild how much you need The Rock. My little crack baby Kevin, you know your dad, true story, his dad even named Kevin after crack. Yes, because he legitimately thought it was spelled with a K.
The Rock fired back.
Our dads right now are looking down on us from the clouds, and I hope they're proud. I think they are. You know, I know your dad has to look a little harder because you're dwarf, but.
Then there's the Instagram Live era. Hart spent a stretch of about 3 years posting recurring jokes about The Rock's forehead, the size of it, the texture of it, his ongoing theory that it's a prosthetic stuck on with industrial Velcro. That's a man with no sense of professional self-preservation. That's also a man who knows exactly how funny it is every single time.
It's gonna be f***ing amazing. Dwayne, get out my f***ing comment section. Go do something, man. You know what? I got something for you. Do it again. Do it again, and I'm gonna click on you. I'll click on you. Let the people see how you look during the daytime. Newsflash, Dwayne's forehead isn't real. It's a prosthetic. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a prosthetic forehead.
What makes Hart and Johnson work as a comedy unit is that the disrespect is mutual and total, but the affection is also obviously real. Most frenemy duos in Hollywood are PR. This one is just two guys who decided years ago that the best way to maintain a friendship in public was to bury each other on every available microphone and let the chemistry do the rest. And it works. Movie after movie, press tour after press tour. The Rock might be twice Hart's size. Hart, on a podcast or a stage, is the bigger man every single time. Cast your mind back to the summer of 2024. P. Diddy was, at that point, deep in legal trouble. Federal raids on multiple homes. A wave of civil suits. The freak-off allegations had been "Here's the joke," lets the room squirm for exactly the right number of seconds, then pivots to snoopness. This one is different from the rest of the list because the destruction wasn't a joke on a stage. It was a one-on-one psychological campaign, courtside, in real time. While Harden was actually trying to play professional basketball, Hart tells this story on Jimmy Kimmel Live. He's there to promote a movie, but as usual, the conversation drifts into whatever Kevin Hart has done lately to embarrass a celebrity in public, and he launches into the story of attending a Houston Rockets game, sitting courtside, and deciding, apparently in real time, with no plan, to spend the entire game getting under James Harden's skin.
I'll tell you a funny story. I pissed James Harden off. So
What happened?
I'm in Philadelphia. We're filming Untouchable. Okay. And I had a day off, so I decided to go to the Sixers game. James Harden is playing in the game, and the whole game, the whole first quarter, he's off. And I was like, you know.
The clip runs through the inventory of insults, which Hart cycled through across all 4 quarters of an NBA basketball game. He brought up Harden's beard. He went after Harden's calves in a tone of personal grievance, as if Harden's calves had wronged him personally. He floated unverified theories about Harden's lower body proportions. He did all this loud enough for Harden to hear it.
And I was like, you know why you off? Because you're in my city. Your beard stinks. I hate you. I was like, I hate your calves. I told him, I said, I think you got butt shots. I was saying a bunch of stuff to him. And he got mad. He said, remember all of this. He said, I'm about to cook you.
The brilliance of this story is the back half. According to Hart, Harden eventually had enough. So Harden did what NBA players do when they want revenge on a heckler. He scored a lot, specifically in the corner directly in front of Hart's seat on possession after possession, until Hart was forced to sit there and applaud the very man he had spent the last hour insulting.
James went on to score 55 points, and here's the bad part. They beat us by 30, and with like a minute left, he was dribbling the ball, staying in the half court, and he was just staring at me.
That's what it's like to lose a heckling war to a superstar shooter. And Hart, to his credit, tells the story with the genuine respect of a man who knows he picked the wrong target on the wrong night. He still made the joke. Harden still made him pay for it. Both men got what they came for. The audience at home got the better deal, which is hearing the whole thing recapped 2 months later on Kimmel. If you've ever wondered what a comedian's tax for being relentless looks like, it looks like getting publicly outscored by a guy you tried to embarrass. 3 for the price of 1 here, because Hart has spent enough time on ESPN's various First Take and First Things First couches to have built up a reputation as the most dangerous guest in sports television. Producers know what they're getting. Hosts know what they're getting. They keep booking him anyway. The Stephen A. Smith moment goes like this. Hart walks onto the set wearing a hat. Stephen A., who has built an entire television career on commenting loudly about other people's choices, decides to comment loudly on Hart's hat. Wrong move.
I gotta ask you a question. The hat, it's one thing to wear the hat backwards. Do you have an afro under that or something? It looks very, very high.
I'll tell you what. Hey, that's none of your business, okay?
Hart turns the criticism around in less than 4 seconds. The pivot point is Stephen A.'s own hairline, which Hart describes with the precision of a man who has been waiting weeks for the opportunity. The studio explodes. Stephen A. tries to laugh it off. The damage is done. The clip lives forever. What's unique about that exchange is the speed. Stephen A. didn't get a second jab in. There was no setup, no warning, no chance for Stephen A., a professional shouter, to use his usual decibels to recover. Hart used the man's own face against him in one breath. That's the kind of move that works, because Hart has clearly thought about Stephen A.'s hairline before. He came prepared. The Kawhi Leonard segment is a different kind of operation. There's no in-person target here. Hart is on First Things First, and the conversation drifts to Kawhi Leonard and Kawhi's famously unsettling laugh, which had been making the rounds online as a meme. Hart, instead of describing it, just performs it.
Spent any time around him because he doesn't speak very much.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so people were kind of stunned when he spoke the other day in Toronto, and then particularly stunned at what it sounds like when he laughs.
The impression is uncanny. Hart captures the exact mechanical he quality that has unsettled NBA reporters and viewers for a decade. He doesn't just imitate it. He breaks down why it's awkward, frame by frame, like a film critic analyzing a haunting performance.
I just can't give you a whole spiel. I don't even know where you're sitting at.
The studio crew is dying. The hosts are wiping tears. Kawhi, presumably watching this on a tablet somewhere, is reportedly laughing exactly like that.
It's like not even a laugh. It's like an outburst. It's like.
The pattern across both clips is the same. Hart can compress an entire roast into one observation that lasts under 30 seconds. He doesn't need a setup. He doesn't need a runway. He just needs the camera to find him for a second, and the target is gone before they even know they were standing there. Then there's the Ice Cube confrontation on Steve Harvey's show, where Hart spent an entire segment dismantling Ice Cube's tough guy persona by reminding everyone that on the set of Ride Along, Ice Cube did not in fact perform his own stunts. Hart did, and Hart will not let Cube forget it ever on any platform.
He didn't want to do one stunt.
I did one stunt in my head. What are you talking about? Like you was in there doing back-to-back stunts. You didn't do any stunts, Cube?
I did all my
No, you didn't. Cube was in that chair sipping coffee. I said, what you doing, man? They doing a stunt. They hurt my back on the first one. I ain't going back out there.
That's the trifecta. ESPN. First things first, Steve Harvey. 3 different sports entertainment couches, 3 completely different targets, 3 completely different levels of celebrity, all destroyed inside a 5-minute window. If you ever get booked next to Kevin Hart, the smartest thing you can do is sit very still and not start anything. Both Stephen A. and Ice Cube started something. This one is more affectionate than most of the entries on this list, but it's still destructive. Maybe even more devastating because it's unintentional. Or at least Hart claims it's unintentional, and his face every single time suggests he absolutely knows what he's doing. The setup. Hart has a Peacock interview show called Hart to Hart. He brings on guests for long-form, intimate conversations. The guests assume they're walking into a thoughtful sit-down, then the conversation drifts toward age. The guest mentions their age, and Kevin Hart loses it. It started with Don Cheadle. Cheadle, a respected dramatic actor, mentioned his age during a serious moment in their conversation. Hart's reaction broke the entire interview.
But at the same time, like I said, and me, you know, I'm 56 years old.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because it was a
Sorry,
thought. No, seriously. It was a thought. It was a thought, and I blurted it out.
What makes this run so beautiful is what happened next. Hart didn't stop, he kept doing it. Will Ferrell came on, mentioned his age, got the same reaction, slightly escalated, with Hart now openly implying Ferrell might be approaching the end of his time on this earth. Ferrell, being Ferrell, played along with grim acceptance.
You work again, Will, because I don't know how much time you got left. And I would love for us to do something before it's too late, man.
I'm here. Yeah.
For now.
Then Mark Wahlberg sat down, mentioned his age, and immediately called out the pattern. He had clearly seen the Cheadle clip and refused to be chattled a second time.
Always, but I've been in the business. You trying to age me up, huh? You trying to Don Cheadle me right now? I knew this was gonna happen. I've been in the business since I was 18, so 32 years.
But the most poetic moment came when Dr. Dre, the architect of West Coast hip-hop, sat across from Hart, mentioned that he was about to turn 60, and watched Hart's face go through the same expression for the 4th time on national television. There's no escape from this. If you sit on Hart's couch and you are over 50, you are going to get the damn. You are going to get rocked by the same syllable that rocked Don Cheadle, and Hart is going to keep doing it because, frankly, it never stops being funny.
Like the conversation.
Kev, I'm pushing 60 years old.
I know that. Dang! Go. Sorry. Go ahead. I just had to do it.
That's the running joke that defined Hart's interview era. One word, delivered at maximum volume, aimed at the exact insecurity every aging celebrity is trying not to think about. Cheadle and Wahlberg can both confirm there is no preparing for it. It's not the meanest joke on this list, it's just the most efficient. And in a list where Hart has insulted Michael Jordan's wardrobe, Tom Brady's marriage, and Diddy's entire criminal docket, efficient might be the most dangerous category of all.